hurting anyone's feelings.
Well, on the other end of the spectrum, Mike, I wanted to ask you real quick about Billy Napier at Florida. Do you think he just had 6 players drafted, including the number 4, overall selection in the draft? Does that help his case, or does it hurt his case that he's the right man for the job down there in Gainesville?
I don't know if there was a right man for the job. The Gators have kind of fallen behind on their facility. They're just now catching up. They got their new football building going, but the recruiting, I think, had dropped off some. I think that's bears out when you mentioned the draft numbers. I think Billy Napier in a vacuum is a really good coach. I do. I know I poke fun and I ridiculed the question last year about who was better, Brian Kelly or Billy Napier. I thought that was a ridiculous question based on what Brian Kelly had accomplished. Thought speaking of coaches who get shortchanged and not respected enough, Brian Kelly in the SEC leads the list. Part of that's he's a little pompous, but that's okay. Hey, he's still a fantastic coach. He can be as arrogant as he wants, but he's a fantastic coach, and that's undeniable. And Billy Napier is a good young coach, and he has a plan. But Florida requires more than just a good coach. Florida requires a program builder. And part of being a good program builder is being able to sell yourself well enough to get the proper funds and the proper support. I'll give you an example. Bruce Pearl. Probably the best program building basketball coach of the modern era. You look at what he did at Tennessee, Mike, and I know you followed it, but remember how Bruce got everybody to buy in? Even when Tennessee basketball was bad, he had 20,000 people in that arena in the third game, and nobody knew at that time that Bruce Pearl would reinvent Tennessee basketball and take them to their only Elite Eight in history. Nobody knew that was coming, not with that cast of characters. I mean, he made Dane Bradshaw look like Bob Cousy out there, and Dane is still a fantastic player, by the way. Dane and Chris Lofton was shooting like Steph Curry. It was just, but you didn't see that before Bruce. It didn't all come together before Bruce, and suddenly there was the Pratt Pavilion practice facility that just so happened to pop up because of Bruce, right? And then Bruce leaves for whatever I don't know what kind of investigation we would call it. Keystone Cops and, a compliance case, the way Tennessee fumbled that. And he goes to Auburn, and I'm thinking to myself, Bruce is going to kill himself down there because you can't win at Auburn. You cannot win at Auburn basketball. They don't care. They don't care, Mike. The only reason they care now is because they're winning. They really don't like basketball. But I'll be doggone if he doesn't build a program and take them to the Final Four. And it's not like this arena they built is anything. It's not. Their skyboxes are on the bottom. They face out, and they're used for football. It's a crappy little arena. You can say it's a newer arena, but it's a crappy new little arena, okay? But you think it's, whatever, the greatest place ever, the way he, those fans pack it out. And he built a program, but he sold the program. Can Billy Napier sell Florida football? We're not talking about if Billy Napier can coach. We're not talking about if he can do the X's and the O's. We're not even talking about if he can change the culture. Can he sell Florida football well enough to get the financial means that he needs to be able to buy the kind of players that it's going to take to win in the SEC? And so far, the jury's out. When he beat Utah, that was big. But he had a couple losses that set him back. And now there's doubt. And so that means his runway isn't as long for success. What happens first, Mike? Does he get fired, or does he have enough success to get that runway extended? This is going to be a pivotal year for Billy Napier.